Welcome back, students, to this web development course. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about the simple HTML forms. So, until now, all the HTML that has been dealt with is one way, as output to the browser. But often there is the need to collect information from the user, such as name, address, and other contact details. It may be that if your site is an e-commerce site, you want to also collect customers' card or payment details along with their choice of product. So once the user has filled out a form, the information needs processing. So on their own, forms don't do a lot. The processing can be done on the client side using a language like JavaScript or on the server side with a language such as PHP. So let's start making a form. The main tag to build a form is form. It has a few optional attributes too. Now here is an example of the form element. So we will write this form tag form, and then we have to write action. Action means once the information is collected, where it has to go for pre-processing. So let me give you this pre-processing.php file. Okay. So this pre-processing will be done with the help of PHP. And now we have to give the method. We will tell you about this method attribute in future or later videos. Just for now, there are two types of method, get and post. So you can give the method get or post. So as I told you, the action attribute tells the HTML where to send the collected information. And while the method attribute describes the way to send, means in which way you have to send it. So either you can use get or post. Now there are certain types of input. If you are making a form, then certain types of input you can give. So the main tag for collecting information from the user is input tag. So there are various types of input. So here I'm taking input type is equal to text. And we can give this box a name as well. So the name of this is, for example, email. And we can give the size of this box. Let's say 30. So the text is to give a prompt as to what is expected from the user. The tag itself contains a name attribute so that we can refer to the input by a name and the size of the entry box in characters. Now I'm going to make a simple HTML form with both the attributes form and input, just for your understanding. So this way we will write enter username, and then we have to take an input from the user. So we'll give input tag, input, name can be given like user, type of this input is text box, so text, size is optional, you can give or not, that is up to you. And after that your favorite color. Again an input, name is equal to color, type is equal to text again, and then close the form. So here is a simple form, and there are quite a few different types of input to choose from. So let's have a look onto the types of input which we can have with this form tag. So I hope this is clear to you, and now I will tell you the input types. So there are certain input types we can give. First you have already seen, which is input type is equal to text. So this is the default input type and accepts characters and numbers into a text box. It can also have a value attribute attached to it, which will give it an initial value. Second is you can give an input a password. Now what is the benefit of having password? So this is a similar to the above text box, but anything that is typed cannot be seen. Instead, an asterisk is present to cover up the entry. As the name suggests, this is used for password entry. Third is we can have this type also, so that is checkbox. This gives a box that can be toggled between checked and unchecked. So it can initially be set to one or the other with checked is equal to checked. So next type of input is a radio button. So if you want to make a radio button, then you have to give in this way input. Next, you can also have an input, or you can take a file from the computer. So we can have an input like input type is equal to file. So this will give a box to allow you to choose a file similar to when you open or save files usually on your machine. It can be used to select a file on the local machine for upload to a server. Next is your this type of input will give you a kind of submit button. So this allows a form to be submitted. When pressed, the information will be passed on for processing. So usually to a script mentioned in the action attribute. So whatever script you have given in the action attribute, so basically this all the forms information is passed to that script. Next is your input type is equal to image. So this will also submit the form when selected, and like the image tag requires the source attribute to specify an associated image. Another few of the input types are button. So this makes a button available. You can take a button. Reset. So this will reset the form to its initial state when selected. And input type is equal to hidden. So this allows hidden data, which is not to be seen by the user, to be passed along with the form. So these were quite different types of input to choose from. So another thing is, and another element you can say is text area. Sometimes you may want to allow the user space to write comments or a message. For this, you probably want a larger space for them to write, and the best way to do this is to use text area. So how this text area is used? You can leave a message. Now I want someone to leave a message for me or anyone. So you can leave message here. And to have a larger space to write, I will use this tag called text area. There is no space between this. Text area name is equal to, because guys all these information will be processed somewhere, so I'm giving the name to every input type or any tags or the information which I'm collecting with the help of form. So that can be processed somewhere, so I'm giving a name so that it can be represented or it can be referred there, which script is going to process it. So rows 10, columns 70. So this way I can have a space for writing this message. Wrap is equal to wrap. So here the size of the area is defined by two optional attributes, rows and columns, and the wrap option provides several ways of letting the wrap within the box. So you can give a wrap, this wrap attribute to, this can be off, virtual, physical. The off option stops all wrapping on lines and requires a user to type enter to finish a line. Virtual wraps the sentence in the box but sends it as one long string, and physical provides full text wrapping with information being kept as it is seen on the display. Second thing is drop down menus. Many of the times your form needs a drop down menus. So drop down select boxes are another input method that can be used, and the simple example is like this. So if you want to create a drop down, then you have to write it this way: select. Now the options which you want in the drop down. So option, you have to give the value. So this way you can have other option. This is the second option, and the value of the second option is option 2. And now close it. So this way we can create the drop down when using the form. So when option is selected, the value returned is set appropriately to selected one, selected two. The text displayed is the option and string. In a similar way to the check boxes with the checked option, the select tag allows selected is equal to selected. So for a default initial value. Let's start creating a simple form. So I'm giving one title. This is my form. And now let's have some body tag. So between these opening and closing tag, I'm creating a form here. So let's see how to create a simple form. So as I told you, take a form tag and the attribute action. Right now I'm not doing any action, so just giving any name, because that we will see in our later videos when we use JavaScript and PHP or PHP. So right now I'm only giving a name to it, preprocess.php, which I'm not going to process for as of now. And then method. The method we are giving post method, right? That. Next. The next tag I am using is field set. What field set is doing, this field set basically put a or draw a rectangle around the areas. So field set, so this legend tag basically used uh, it will actually gives a heading to each input section. Now it has been done. Okay, in a single line so that you can easily see. Okay. Now, so legend I have given. Then what I have to do, I will give some text. Please enter your username. Okay, and then if a person has to enter its username, I have to take as an input. So for that, you know what tag we will use? Yes, we will use input tag, and the type of the tag is of course text because username is text, and then we have to give some name to it. So I'm giving the name user. Okay, and also you can give the size. Size is optional, but let us give the size for the proper formatting. So size I'm giving 30. Okay. Next I want the password. So for that I will be giving a password. Enter your password. Okay, after that what I have to do? I have to take the password. So input type is equal to password and name is equal to PSW. Okay, so I have given the name as well, and then I will give the size. So size of the this password box. Okay, so I have given the size of this box. Now next, right? So I'm closing this field set because I want this in one section. Now for another section, I will take another field set so that next information will be in another section. So take the field set again, and in which I'm asking a kind of choices of the user. So for that, I'm taking a legend, and in this particular section, I'm asking for the choices of the user. So choices. What is your favorite color? So favorite color, once the user will give the favorite color, so I'm again taking a text box by which he or she can give the input. So input type is equal to text, and the name I can give color. Okay, and the value of this text is this, green. I can give a value, and then next is size. Okay, now the person has to select his or her favorite fruit, and I'm actually giving a drop down box to take that input. So my favorite fruit is, so for that, now what I have to do, I have to create a drop down. So with the help of the select, I can create a drop down. So select, now you have to give the options, like in which, from which the user has to choose. So option, some value we have to give. For example, I have given selected one, And then you have to give, this is the value which actually we use in the processing part, but now I'm giving a kind of text which will be displayed when this form is actually displayed. So these are some options like apple, and now I'm just copying it and 2 is banana. And third is orange. 3, right? So this way I have created a drop down. Now new line. Now I'm creating a kind of radio button. So for that I'm taking, okay, so input for radio button type is, yes, you know that, radio. And I'm giving some name to it. RDO. Okay. And a value to it. So these are actually houses. So I'm giving the value house. So by the value house, it will be processed. And I want this to be checked. So here I'm writing kind of this checked is equal to checked. So this option will be checked by default. So house or a flat. So I'm not going to write it again. I'm just copying it from here. So name I have to give the same because this is the same radio button I'm using. So for that I'm just not uh, I mean not differentiating with the name. So name is same, no different name. Type is radio, name is RDO. Value I will change because now if the person is checking out this particular option, then the value should not be same. So value for that is, for example, a flat. By default, it is not checked. So I'm just skipping this from here. And the second radio button is the flat. Okay. Now creating two new lines. And now I'm uploading a file. So my, just to check how the file uploading is done. So my file upload, or you can say upload a file. Simple. upload a file. And for uploading a file, input type is input type is equal to file, right? And also I have to give a name to it, so I'm giving a name upload. Okay, and the size is the box sizes. Basically, this is not the file size, this is just a box size in which you are uploading it, right? So don't confuse, this is not the file size which you are going to upload. This way. Okay, now this is the second section. Now I'm making the third section in the form. So again I'm taking a new field set, and here I'm creating one text area in which you can drop your message. So your message here. Okay, so this area I'm going to create in which you can drop your message. So you can leave a message for me. You can leave a message for me here. Okay. Now for a larger space, we need a text area tag. So I'm creating a text area. Give a name to it. Name. You can give any name. I'm giving it comment. And then the size of this area. So rows, you know that rows. Size of the rows. And columns. Okay. So text area is also done. Now we'll create a kind of button. Submit for submitting this values. So for submitting the values, input type is equal to submit, and the value will be displayed onto that button. Means this button is the submit button, but the value which is written over here is this, the value. So go. I'm writing go to it. Okay, and you can also create a button called reset if you want to reset the information which you have input. So type is equal to reset, and the value start again. So now your form is created. So I'm just ending up with the HTML. Okay. Now let us run this code and check whether the form is working or not. So here is my form.html. I'm just clicking onto it and let's check. Wow. So we have these three sections: login now, choices, and this text area. So this way you can create your own forms, right? So how simple.
Thank you for watching my videos.